In the last segment, I introduced SI metric prefixes and showed you how to take an equality and derive conversion factors. You need to practice these because you must have these to convert. In this segment, we're going to move on with what I had originally intended for us to do before we took our detour here, and that is, how are we going to convert? How are we going to go from one system to the next? This is a process. If you follow the process, you will have this in the bag. If you do not follow the process, you will probably have some trouble with this, as you may have experienced in your prior chemistry class. Here's how I show students how to do this. Step number 1, start with a given. The problems always get harder, not easier. Pick an ending place. Pick where you want to start, where you want to end up. Look at the units to use conversion factors to get from here to there. That's what we're going to call factor label method or dimensional analysis. And the very last thing you do is to actually use the calculator. Don't forget to report your answer to the proper sig figs. All right, so no one get confused, but I have a different layout which actually makes the problems look on the page better. So this is the same thing. So let's start with these problems on page 11. I've gotten them started for you so that we can get through all 3 problems in this segment. How many feet are in 3.65 miles? 3.65 miles over 1 is our starting place. Feet is our ending place. English to English, you need to know how many feet there are in a mile. 5280 feet, 1 mile. Miles will cancel, and we're going to use that conversion factor to get from here to here with the proper unit. Then we simply get our calculator out, we do the math. 3.65 times 5280. Our calculator tells us 19,272, and then we need to round to proper sig figs. We have 3 here, we have 3 here, so our answer needs to have 3 as well. And so our answer would be 19,300 feet. All problems are pretty much a rendition of this same thing. Gallons to cups. Most people know that there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon. Gallon will cancel, and there are 4 cups in 1 quart. Because we're starting with gallon, we're ending in cups. Quarts will cancel. That's factor label method. You have the unit that you want, and now we're going to do the math. Now what we're going to say is that this is the measured quantity and these are definitions. So these are not going to limit. They are not going to limit. It's the measured quantity. So I started 3 sig figs here, so I want 3 sig figs here. Okay, so I'm going to get out my calculator. 1.39 times 4 times 4. 22.24, and I have a whole bunch of trailing zeros there. 22.24. So our calculator, remember, is just a tool and it will do what we tell it to do. 3 sig figs here. We're not going to count these, so I want 3 sig figs here, and our answer would be 22.2 cups. Okay. How many tons are in 587 pounds? Here's our starting place in pounds, our ending place in tons, and we have to ask ourselves, how are we going to relate pound to ton? Most people know that there are 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. That is the English definition of a ton. And this we're going to use as our definition. This is how we are defining this. So this is our measured quantity. So we're going to use 3 significant figures as our final answer. Ton is the answer we have here. Ton is the answer that we have here. So we have the right unit. Now we just need to do the math. So we're going to take 587 divided by 2,000. Okay, I know this is hard to see. Equals 0.29350. 0.29350, and maybe yours gives you different digits. This is why we have to have rounding rules. 3 sig figs here, a definition here, this is what is measured, so we're going to round this to 3 significant figures here. 1, 2, 3, the 5 means we round up, and we end up with 0.294 tons. Okay? On page 12, there's a whole page of more problems of the same. So what I will do is I will end this segment right here. I will work out the problems and you give them a try too before you start the next segment. And then let's compare your answers to what I get.